Good morning. This is Life's Dream number 68, Lemonade.
We're actually live this time. A little foot solo right there.
A footnote. Go, Corky. Woo, smoking.
Here's one Holly and I wrote together, and I think it's about the song is less relevant with every hour that goes by. Insecurity makes me feel so unsure. Insecurity leaves me totally insecure. Well, I know it's in my mind, but I feel it in my bones. Insecurity just won't leave me alone. Insecurity. Got the best of me. Insecurity. Well, my brain is twisted and my stomach's in knots. It's not that I'm paranoid, it's just that I worry a lot. My head is buried in the sand, my feet are kicking in the air. Insecurity, I can't see you, but I know you're there. Insecurity. Looky, what it's doing to me. Insecurity. I'm so afraid that everything's gonna go haywire. Out of the microwave oven into the frying pan fire. For an election pundit, it was a familiar ring, and on the Situation Room you can hear them sing. For an election pundit, it was a familiar ring, and in the Situation Room you could hear them sing. Insecurity. Is there anything you could do for me? Insecurity. More harmonica, right?
Oh.
No. Well, you guys, we did a video,
All right.
and we were gonna play at 11:30.
It's a good sign for the day.
We couldn't load it. It wouldn't let us. We did this whole thing.
We did.
We
This
already did.
This is the second time.
this was the second time, and
But hey.
hey, and now we can go live. And oh, this is crazy. But anyway, story
So,
time.
story time. Yep.
Oh gosh, how's everyone doing?
Do you have your coffees? What's going on out there?
Yeah, let's not talk about it. So, yay.
Yay.
So,
I'll just settle. Yes, right?
wisdom.
All right.
Wisdom.
Okay. Just want to
Settle
just
down.
saying.
Fresno.
Fresno.
So, as you mostly know, I've played with all the major symphonies, welcomed with open arms as guest artist, New York Philharmonic, Boston Symphony, Boston Pops, Philadelphia Orchestra at Saratoga,
NHK
NHK recorded
in Japan.
with San Francisco Symphony, 2 albums on Deutsche Grammophon, Belgrade Orchestra,
Swiss Roman
Roman,
in Geneva, Switzerland. Austria.
Austria, and then a lot of little community symphonies, which I loved. And I remember one in particular, they had no auditions, they just said, whoever wants to play with a symphony, come on in. And there were people coming in, like 98-year-old cellists, walking in. And they didn't really bother to tune very much. And the conductor just said, please, just if we could start at the same time and end at the same time, that's all I can ask for. And then he would take me aside and he'd say, oh, Corky, I'm so sorry. And I said, no, 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 no. This is music. This are people. These are people coming together for the love of music, to play together.
So much love and joy.
What more can we ask for? So that's the idea. I love the other symphonies too, but the community ones are special also. So that paints the picture here. So we have a concert now in Fresno, and I get a call from the conductor. He says, Corky, I am such a big fan of yours, such a big fan of William Rousseau, and such a big fan of the piece Street Music that William Rousseau composed. I am so excited about having you. So we're preparing for the trip, and a couple days before the performance, I get a call. Mr. Siegel, this is the Fresno Symphony Association calling. Our maestro has been hospitalized. Maybe he had a stroke. I don't know.
It's possible, yeah.
So our assistant conductor, you're in good hands, is going to take over. And we were so disappointed. But anyway. So I was asked to do a lecture, a talk about my life and my career the day before the performance. So I show up at 10 a.m., ready to do the talk. Assistant conductor shows up. And he says to me, because it's just time for me to start. And right before I start, he says to me, I'm not a fan of Rousseau's, nor you. Then he goes to the microphone. He says, ladies and gentlemen, Corky Siegel. He walks off the stage and slams the door.
This is the assistant.
The assistant conductor. So I really feel welcomed. Not. So I gave the talk, and I called the Symphony Association. I said, I'd like to meet with Maestro today sometime to discuss the score so that our rehearsal tomorrow can go smoothly. So we set up a meeting for 3:00 backstage at the outdoor center, and he doesn't show up. And at one point, I see him, and he peeks in and he says something about no, maybe it wasn't 3:00, I don't know, but at one point he said to me he doesn't want to miss Dallas for this.
You all remember Dallas,
TV show
who
Dallas.
shot JR?
So
Didn't want to miss that.
I went, okay, we'll meet again for, okay, so they have the rehearsal, but they never call me or they never call Street Music. They don't, I'm sitting there waiting to rehearse, and he never calls me up. He says, sorry, I ran out of time. Okay, so I said, let's meet tomorrow. So I set up an appointment for the day of the performance before the last rehearsal. For us, our first rehearsal. Never have we done Street Music in one rehearsal. So I said, it's okay, we'll meet beforehand. I'll go over the whole score. Everything will be fine. He never shows up. He calls me up at the rehearsal. We're going to do Street Music now. And then he says to me when he's just about to start, so is this pretty much straight through, right? Pretty much simple piece, straight through, right? So he never listened to it. He never looked at the score up to this point. He opens the score and he looks at it and he goes, oh shit. And he's looking. So we start rehearsing. It's abominable. It's horrible. And in my mind, I figure, that's okay. Because when we get to the cadenza during the performance, I'm going to just really lay it out there.
You'll wail. You'll wail. Yeah.
So we did the rehearsal, it was horrible. So now it's the performance. And the performance is worse than the rehearsal. It is just falling apart like unbelievable. But I'm thinking in my mind, whatever. Because I had called the Symphony Association after the rehearsal. I said, look, I don't have to do this performance with Street Music. Let me just do some solo songs. Everyone will be happy. They'll go home. You guys have to live here. I could go back to Chicago, so whatever you want to do, but I recommend highly we don't perform Street Music. They said, no, we want you to perform it. I went, okay. So the performance was horrible. And I figured, I'm just going to do my job. And I'm going to play this cadenza. I'm going to really extend it, make it extra long, and just do this amazing harmonica thing, and everyone will be really happy. So he's conducting, and we get to the cadenza, and he passes me up and ends the piece without my cadenza. I didn't mention also there was a football game next door. It was an outdoor.
Right. I forgot about
This was an outdoor concert, and they scheduled it at the championship game next door in the field next door.
So we had the marching band.
Yeah, we had
It was
the
like
marching
a
bands
little
and
bit of
everything
Charles
going on.
Ives thrown in there for.
Yeah. So we're getting ready to leave Fresno thing. We're anxious to get out of there. Newspaper article comes out, and it says a review of the concert. We have no idea what this piece was about. It was horrible. There was no reason for it. And why in the world would they have a harmonica player
With no
Corky Siegel,
solos.
without any reason for being there? It was the most stupid piece and stupid performance we had ever seen in the history of this orchestra. And what a great job the conductor did trying to pull this whole thing together. So there's sometimes you're not always welcomed, but you got to do the best.
But I think that's the only time in our 55 years that it's ever been that. But there is a moral to the story.
What is it, Helen?
Well, the moral to the story is it doesn't matter.
Here's the moral to the story.
So it doesn't matter how difficult your circumstance can be. It doesn't matter how overwhelming and how you may feel that nothing is in your control. You still have your own sense of joy and love and upliftment. And the people that lined up afterwards that had the recording,
They knew.
They were laughing, and they knew because they were great fans of the
Yeah.
recording. They were waiting to hear it live, finally at last. And so we made some really fantastic lifelong friends
Yeah.
that we are still friends with to this day.
And the punchline.
The punchline is Corky gets to play and goes. He continues.
The punchline for that one is, we made lemonade, but this one time they spilled it on my head. So we're going to end with a song called The Election Shuffle. We'll see you on Zoom. For those of you that need to get to Zoom, you get to it simply by going to corkymusic.com/stream, and your Zoom link will be there. And it'll work this time. I should turn the piano on. For an election pundit, it was a familiar ring on the Situation Room. You could hear them sing. Insecurity. We're gonna say goodbye now, right now. Okay, goodbye everyone. We'll see you on Zoom.
We'll see you on the Zoom, and we'll pop some champagne hopefully later today. Love you all. See you on the Zoom, and don't forget, things do work out. They do work out. All the best. Bye-bye.
What? Do you know how to stop it? She doesn't know how to stop it. Okay, here we go. Bye bye. Bye bye.